Today we're learning about quadratic applications, day 1. Problem 1. The length of a rectangular sign is 6 inches more than half its width. The area of the sign is 432 square inches. Write an equation in one variable that could be used to find the number of inches in the dimensions of this sign. Determine the method that you would use to solve, but do not solve. So we're going to determine the method that we would use, but we are not solving it. Okay, sounds like we're just writing an equation here. So we see a rectangle, and the problem is talking about the area of the sign. So we have area is equal to length times width. Let's label the dimensions of the figure. We have the width here and the length here. And then the problem gives us the length of the sign in terms of its width. The length is equal to 6 inches more than half of its width. So now let's go to the formula for area and substitute in our known values. The problem tells us that we have an area of 432 square inches. We have a length of 6 plus 1/2 W, and we have a width of just itself W. So let's substitute these values into the formula. We have 432 equals 6 plus, why is that doing that? 6 plus 1/2 W times W. So now let's distribute that W inside the parentheses, and we will get 6W plus 1/2 W squared. Now I have made my equation, but now I need to determine the method that I would use to solve it. If I wanted to solve this, I would probably just do 432 equals 6W plus 1/2 W squared. I would move the constant over, and I would just use the quadratic formula, right? I would just rewrite it like this. And I would use the quadratic formula where this is A, this is B, and this is C. I wouldn't factor because it's not obvious to me what factors would produce this quadratic. I wouldn't use square roots because there's an X term here. I wouldn't complete the square because, again, these are pretty big numbers. I would just use a quadratic formula. So the method that I would use is quadratic formula. So let's just write our answer in a complete sentence, like this is the Regents, because it's always good to practice that. We would say, my equation to find the number of inches in the dimensions of this sign is 432 equals 6W plus 1/2 W squared. And I would solve it using the quadratic formula. Excellent. And then just put a little box around your answer so whoever is grading it knows exactly where all of your smart thoughts are located. Number 2, a landscaper is creating a rectangular flower bed such that the width is half of the length. The area of the flower bed is 34 square feet. Write and solve an equation to determine the width of the flower bed to the nearest tenth of a foot. So here we are going to draw the figure. Whenever they mention a figure, you should always draw it. Here they say rectangle. And it has a width and a length, of course. And then they talk about the area. So let's put down the formula for area of a rectangle, which is length times width. And let's see if they give us any of these dimensions here. They say the width is half of the length. So the width is equal to 1/2 of the length. Okay. And that the area is 34 square feet. So we have an area of 34 square feet. We have a width of 1/2 W, and then we have an L, or length, of just itself, L. So let's substitute all of our known values into the formula. I have 34 equals L times 1/2 L. So now I am going to solve. I have 34 equals 1/2 L squared. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of the fraction there. And I will get 68 is equal to L squared. I'm going to square root both sides to undo the exponent. And I'm going to get L is equal to plus or minus. Oh, 68 is not a nice radical. So let's put that into simplest radical form. Simplest radical form is where we pull out the largest possible perfect square that is a factor of 68 from 68, and we rewrite it as 2 radicals. So we have the square root of 4 times the square root of 17. The square root of 4 is going to be plus or minus 2. And then the square root of 17 is gross, so we're just going to leave it. Now let's examine those answers, right? I have L is equal to -2 square root of 17, or L is equal to 2 square root of 17. Now, since this is the dimension of something and it is a measurement, we would absolutely reject the negative solution because you can't have a negative length. And we would move forward with this solution. So here it says that we need to find the width of the flower bed, and we have only found the length. So we are going to use the length to find the width. So let's start with the formula for the width, and then let's substitute in our known value. So we have a value for L, which is 2 times the square root of 17. Let's put that in there. W equals 1/2 times 2 square root of 17. 2 divided by 2 is going to cancel, and I will get the width is equal to the square root of 17. Let's find out what the square root of 17 is on a calculator. It is 4.123. Now the problem says that we need to round to the nearest tenth of a foot. So let's round this to the nearest tenth of a foot, which would be 0.1. We have a width of 4.1. Let's write our answer in a nice little sentence here. We have the width of the flower bed That's it.